Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into some absolutely fascinating data that completely dismantles the illusions holding your income back. Seriously, if you've been working your absolute hardest, but feel like your bank balance just isn't reflecting all that effort, well, you are definitely in the right place. The sources we're exploring today dig deep into the reality behind stagnant salaries, but more importantly, we're going to uncover a structured blueprint for engineering exponential salary jumps. Let's get right into it.
So let me kick things off with a pretty wild question for you. Could that massive salary bump you just got offered actually leave you poor by the end of the month? I know, it sounds completely crazy, right? But the paradox we're unmasking today is that a 20 LPA offer in a highly expensive city could literally drain your bank account faster than a 15 LPA offer somewhere else. We need to fundamentally shift how you look at your earning potential.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. The high CTC trap. 2. Purchasing power parity reality. 3. Unmasking the 30% illusion. 4. The exponential salary leap. And 5. The barrier-breaking negotiation playbook.
Let's start with Section 1, the high CTC trap. Check out this single staggering number right here, 40%. You know, almost all of us make the mistake of comparing job offers by looking strictly at the top-line cost to company, or CTC. But in Tier 1 metros, think Mumbai or Bangalore, a comical 40% of your income is instantly devoured by your landlord. Boom, it's just gone. And that's before you even buy a single bag of groceries.
So beyond that 40% for rent, another 45% just vanishes into daily living, travel, and utilities. Do the math, and that leaves you with a tiny, tiny 15% slice for your actual savings and wealth accumulation. Basically, a high CTC often just makes you a highly efficient, highly paid conduit for passing money directly to your landlord and utility companies. Your true salary, it's really only what's left over after merely surviving the city you live in.
Moving on to Section 2, purchasing power parity reality.
Take a look at this comparison, which is based on 2026 projected cost of living data. If we look at the higher end of monthly expenses for a single professional, and yes, that includes rent, maintaining a lifestyle in Mumbai costs about 65,500 rupees a month. But in Pune, that exact same lifestyle is around 36,000. That is nearly a 30,000 rupee difference every single month. It's like night and day, and it shows exactly why a city like Pune is an absolute winner for actual wealth accumulation.
So let's see how this actually impacts a job offer. Let's say you currently have a 15 LPA lifestyle in Gurugram, and HR comes along and offers you a transfer to Mumbai for 18 LPA. You'd probably think, awesome, it's a raise. But wait, to maintain that exact same lifestyle in Mumbai, you actually need 21 LPA. In Bangalore, you'd need 17 LPA just to break even. But over in Pune, you only need 13.5 LPA. So taking that 18 LPA in Mumbai, it's actually a stealth pay cut.
And listen, the math drastically changes the second you add dependents into the mix. While a single professional might get by on roughly 27,300 rupees a month before rent, a family of 4 requires nearly 98,000 just for basic expenses. Basic family needs cost drastically more depending entirely on your zip code. Honestly, it makes highly expensive cities a massive financial liability if you aren't calculating your true purchasing power.
All right, Section 3, unmasking the 30% illusion.
We've all heard the conventional career advice, right? It dictates a 20 to 30% ceiling on job switches. You sit across from HR, and they confidently tell you they can only offer a maximum of 30% over your current salary. But look at the alternative here, the step function progression. That's what happens when you completely ignore that fictional ceiling and base your compensation on your present market value, not just whatever your last paycheck said.
We really need to call this exactly what it is, the corporate budget trap. It's simply a financial safeguard for HR, heavily designed to acquire talent for the lowest acceptable cost of the company. It artificially caps your growth based on past paychecks rather than your present merit. So if you've been feeling stuck, I want to validate that feeling for you right now. This cap is literally just an internal budgeting tool. It is in no way a true reflection of your worth in the open market.
That brings us to Section 4, the exponential salary leap.
The source data reveals some truly incredible, verified case studies of professionals who flat out refuse the 30% trap. Take Devesh, for example, who went from 5.5 LPA to 45 LPA. That's an 8.1x multiplier. Or an anonymous IBM engineer who jumped from 6 LPA to a jaw-dropping 68 LPA, an 11.3x jump. Getting a 200 to 1,000% jump is not some wild fantasy. It's actively happening right now in the market for people who know how to play the game.
Think about it. Jumping from a stagnant 6 LPA to 18 LPA, a 200% hike, is what's called a triple salary leap. Doing this completely rewrites your career trajectory. It shifts your professional confidence, and it radically upgrades your standard of living. You aren't just getting a raise at that point, you're stepping into an entirely different financial bracket.
Which leads us to our final section, Section 5, the barrier-breaking negotiation playbook.
These exponential jumps are engineered through 5 specific vectors of upward momentum. First, you upskill in a high-demand tech. Next, you build a results-oriented portfolio proving your ROI. Then, you aim for macro salary bands at top-tier employers, deploy a resume that translates your exact value, and crucially, you negotiate with data-backed leverage. You really have to follow this sequence to make it work.
And the execution of that final, critical negotiation step starts with what we call the preemptive strike. It's a simple question. What is the budget for this role? You see, in any negotiation, whoever anchors the number first controls the outcome. If HR asks for your current salary first, you are instantly locked into their 30% trap. But by asking this simple question before they can ask you, you completely flip the power dynamic. It forces them to reveal the market value they've already assigned to the open position.
Now, if they throw a number at you that just doesn't make sense for the city you'll be living in, you can rely on this data-driven script. Honestly, you might want to screenshot this. You say, considering the increase in housing costs, I'd like to discuss a compensation package that reflects the purchasing power required to maintain my current lifestyle. This forces recruiters to negotiate based on purchasing power parity rather than arbitrary internal bands. It's highly professional, entirely backed by the math we discussed earlier, and it proves you're negotiating on objective market reality, not just greed.
Notice the clear contrast we're making here. On one hand, negotiating from history relies strictly on internal company bands, which pretty much always results in a standard 10 to 30% hike. But on the other hand, negotiating from leverage uses external market data, accumulated competing offers, and your genuine willingness to walk away. That right there is exactly what creates a step function salary leap.
But hey, what if HR stubbornly repeats that their policy is a maximum 30% hike on your current CTC? Well, you deploy the ultimate countermeasure, the knockout punch. You look at them and calmly and professionally say, as per my skills, my expectations are aligned with market standards. You can decide my worth based on my interview performance. Boom! This completely dismantles their budget argument and places the focus 100% on your present merit. It absolutely shatters that glass wall.
So to summarize the true path forward, we look at the exponential growth equation. Listen, exponential jumps are not luck. They're carefully engineered. It's a combination of accumulating a high-demand tech stack and quantifiable outcomes, multiplied by targeting the right employer tier and executing data-backed negotiation. Upskilling provides your base value, sure, but negotiating with leverage? That multiplies your value. Which brings us to the end of this explainer and leaves you with one massive, provocative question. The next time you walk into that interview room, I want you to think about that stagnant number you've been stuck at. Are you going to just accept their artificial budgets? Are you finally ready to negotiate your true worth? The playbook is entirely in your hands now. Use the data, use these scripts, and start engineering your own exponential leap. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep pushing those boundaries and never, ever apologize for knowing your worth.